serious.
All right, now this is full disclosure. The Book of Us is a judgment-free zone.
In my childhood, coming through that organization and learning, overall it was a good experience as far as, you know, dealing with families and being social, and that's it. Those aspects of being a part of that organization contributed to, you know, some of the things that I think and how I structure what I do right now. It was great as a child, you know, going to the conventions, being able to see my friends, and, you know, I always enjoyed intermission. You know.
Oh yeah, yes sir. You look, you know what it is. You know what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even want to know.
Those times, you know, like going to the assemblies, being able to travel to Richmond, going over to Hampton, staying overnight. Those things were really great. In my childhood years, you know, I was able to see different peoples of different race coming together on a cause that they felt was, you know, good for them. So not having too much to say within the organization at a young age, I really didn't say a lot of things how, you know, I felt about you know, different things that was happening within the organization.
We came up the way that we did, but there were, I want to say, good life skills that we did get out of it, in a sense, because I did, you know, learn how to, you know, public speak, you know what I mean, and in my field now that I'm working in my career now, you know, it entails public speaking, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, the theocratic ministry school, you know what I mean, you know, taught me some things with that. So I am appreciative of it, and yeah, you hit on some of that too, but then it's the dark side, that everybody, you know, doesn't really get a glimpse of.
Yeah. So when did you start? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go for it, huh?
When did you kind of start seeing things in a different light? Like, was there one thing that happened? Was there like a serious thing? What did that kind of look like for you?
Well, it didn't happen until I turned about 15, 16 when I started really identifying some issues at hand, i.e. racial issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
talk about it.
Because coming up, it was like, don't make it a black or white thing. Or, you know what I'm saying? You know, Jehovah's going to take care of everything. And, you know, that's right and exact. But there's another part of that we must, you know, we got to do our work as well. Mm-hmm. And we can't just keep watching our brothers and sisters out on the streets getting murdered by the police, and, you know, all of these things happening to our people and not feel any kind of way about it. And then, you know, now we coming to the religious leaders of this organization trying to figure out, you know, what's really going on. Why can't we talk about these issues, or why these things aren't being addressed? And then is it being completely shut down? Like, don't worry about it. And, you know, you really have no valid answers for the questions that I'm bringing. So I would say when I turned about 15, 16, I started to, you know, realize some things like why this ain't being talked about. And I really needed to talk about them because I was seeing it happen to our people, like I said. So it could have potentially happened to me or my brother or my sister, or my mom, my dad. So what? We ain't going to address it at all. So that's when I really started seeing the falsehood within.
When you had the opportunity, did you speak up on it? You know what I mean? To any brothers, anybody at all? And what did that look like?
Man, I did. I actually spoke on it. I called a couple of elders together so we can discuss these things because I was studying with them. So we had that discussion, and, you know, I was asking about, you know, what our culture was, and, you know, what is our attire, and where can I find myself within the Bible? Really, there was no answer. Well, yeah. So when they started stuttering like that, I knew they didn't have an answer for the questions that I was asking them. So that's when I really picked up on it was an energy about them that just wasn't right and exact. So the next day, after we had that meeting, the next day, the same elders came to my grandmother, who was a Jehovah's Witness as well, came to them and said, my name was Travis in the beginning. Travis got the mindset of the devil. He thinks just like Satan, and he don't need to be in your house. So
What?
I wasn't in
Wow.
the conversation. So when my grandma had came home that day, I'm actually reading my Bible, right? And she came there, boy, she was crying. I mean, her eyes was, man, it was just tears falling down and everything. She was like, Travis, you gotta go. You gotta go now. And I was like, what's going on? She was like, brother so-and-so said that your thoughts are of the devil. You think just like Satan, da-da-da-da. I was like, really? And then she was like, yeah. And this was the day after we had that meeting. And when she was crying, I knew that was some kind of conviction that was going on within herself. Because I'm your own flesh and blood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When that did occur, man, I'm telling you, man, my feelings was hurt. Okay, I was torn to pieces, and I really didn't know how to fully conceptualize the idea of you telling me, your grandson, to leave your house because of what another brother said, based on the questions that I asked them the night before.
Wow.
I said, man, that's tough. So, before I go any further with that, I say another issue was identity, self-identity, right? Because I couldn't understand why every time I grew a little peach fuzz, right?
Oh, bro, you already know. Oh, man.
I cut it off. I'm talking about, I don't know if you remember, bro, but my joint used to bump up real bad. And I was like, I gotta keep doing this. And I was just, my mom and dad was like, yeah, you just gotta do it. You gotta do it with no explanation. I'm like, yo, even in the Watchtower, it's like, these people had beers, right? So I struggled for a long time with self-identification of who I really was and what was being put into my ear about if I ever left this organization, that Jehovah wasn't going to be with me anymore. I didn't understand, so that's why I stayed around for a little bit longer. Even having these questions, I just stayed around. All right, so to jump back to what was going on with my grandma when she had put me out that day, I left in peace. You know what I'm saying? I gave her a hug. I told her that I understood, which I really didn't understand, and I parted my ways. And then, ever since then, I never went back. I never went back after that because it won't right and exact. First of all, y'all lying. Y'all didn't provide me the answers, and that's just for that one side. So another incident that had occurred when I was going to a Park Manor congregation, right? And I was studying for a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this thing one more try, right? And I brought my family. I brought my wife and my children along with me this time, right? So one time, me and my wife was going through a little rough patch, and I was like, man, we got these people involved now. They involved, and all of us studying together. So I'm gonna tell you what really happened. They try to divide the family, bro. They try to divide our family. I'm talking about there were days that I would go to the meeting, my wife and children sitting on one side of the Kingdom Hall, and I'm sitting all by myself on the other side of the Kingdom Hall. You know what I'm saying? It was wicked.
No. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta put this in perspective real quick. So hold on. Now, first question is, were you disfellowship or disassociate? Like, what was your status when you came back?
I never got baptized. You know, I was an unbaptized publisher.
Okay, that's right. Okay, gotcha.
So that's when we was out. At Park Manor the first time, and then when I went out to Virginia Beach. But then when I came back to Portsmouth, that's when I started going back to I went to Greenwood and Park Manor.
Okay. Boy, you throwing out some throwbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like hold on. So for the listeners and for you, babe, so congregations was kind of like your hood. You know what I'm saying? Like in an equivalency. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you went to Park Manor, like you was with, you know, Park Manor. Like, you know, like, all, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you went to Greenwood, you went to Greenwood. But no, I think that it's interesting that you, man, I think it's unfortunate, really, that the fact that you had to go through that, and your family had to, and your children, your girls, they had to kind of, like, they witnessed that. So I'm sure that they picked up on it too. But anyways, my question, I guess, around that is, like, so what was their reasoning for that? Like, did they even give you a reason for it?
For which incident?
I mean, for the divide of your family and so forth.
Ain't want no reasoning. You know what I'm saying? I was just thought that that's just what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would have our disagreements, and that's what any marriage, like, y'all gonna go through, right? But don't try to take the man away. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to take the man out and keep the wife and children and roll with y'all because y'all have a different financial status. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I keep you around. I buy you this. I buy you that. Like, trying to buy my family. I didn't even know they was for sale. So that, I think that's what that was. Like, even when it was time to go to the convention, I went, and, you know, one of the sisters, they was, you know, in my wife's ear, like, yeah, if you ever talk to him again, then, you know, we're not gonna allow you to come around and stuff like that. I'm like, what?
Wow.
It was a lot of crazy stuff going on. I mean, the elders would slide my wife money.
Hey.
Wow. Hold on. Now this is different.
Man, it got real serious, like, toward the end of me really fully departing. Alright. Yeah, I mean, elders all pull me in a room. I'm sitting there, I'm crying. I'm like, yo, this ain't right. This can't be. You know what I'm saying? But nobody wanted to ever talk about these issues. You know, one brother did come to me 5 years later and was like, yeah, I told those brothers not to try to divide the families. Don't do that because we don't advocate for that. But yet and still, this was what was going on. So eventually I pulled all the way out. And, you know, I ain't gonna say I would try to challenge them today about what's what. But, you know, that demonstration was not right and exact. Period. So, yeah.
It should never get to that extreme where you are literally controlling families. And the thing is that that's what they do anyway. You know what I'm saying? With this fellowship and the arrangement,
right,
and all that stuff. But to literally, like, aggressively, that's what I'm getting from it. Aggressively dividing a family. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, giving, you know, sliding money, like, now that's something different. Like, now.
I'm not shocked with it.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, most elders I done came across was pretty cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. So just hearing that.
But you're a guy. You're a guy too. So your experience was different.
It was different. It was different. So that does not surprise me whatsoever. You know what I mean?
And I can see them. I can see why they wanted to really get your wife and the kids. You know, like, if you get your wife and the kids, that's more than just you too.
Yes.
And then if they can get your wife and kids, maybe they can get you. Maybe they can get you. But we'll take the wife and the kids. That's way more, especially the kids. That's way more, you know, like, easier to get to. And I feel like in the eyes of these type of organizations, than getting just used. So I don't know. I've seen
To
it too.
them,
Like
it's
even
more
when I was
valuable.
just yeah, and even when I was just dating Jerome and he would bring me around, I hated it because they would just be like vultures,
Mm-hmm.
like in my ear talking to me,
Mm-hmm.
and like they would just on me. Like I was just like, can I breathe? Like leave me alone. We're just dating too, but it's just like get away from me. Um, so yeah, and it's immediately in your face. Like if we would go to the hall, he took me to the hall. If I was at his family house and I was left with one of them, like all I had to do was hear them talk about the organization and um I even studied to understand, like, what Jerome came from and what he went through. I studied to kind of understand him even more. And even in then, it was like, well,
Right, right.
yeah, it's messed up.
It's tough, man. If I could give y'all one more incident,
No, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
my pops, when we were staying out Virginia Beach, he said, look, he said, Travis, I'm done. I don't want to be part of this organization no more. He wrote his letter to the organization saying he didn't want any affiliations with them, right? So the elders received the letter, right? And they made it known that they received the letter. Man, one of the elders came to the house with a work uniform on. I'm talking about knocking on the door like boom, 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 boom. I said, Dad, you expecting somebody? He was like, nah, go see who at the door. So I opened the door. I mean, I ain't opened the door. I looked out the peephole, seen it was a brother in his work uniform. So I opened the door. I greeted him. He was like, where's your dad? And I was like, what's up? What you need? He was like, man, where's your dad? I need to talk to him about this letter of disassociation. I said, well, he don't want to speak to you. He demanded that my dad come out there, and I was like, look, he said he don't want nothing. He ain't got nothing to talk about. So at that time, one of my dad's friends had came over. She was coming up the steps, and he was at the top of the steps, and he was like, who are you? You ain't supposed to be living here. I was like, yo, they tripping. I said,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, when he did that, I said, man, these people are nuts. That was my final conclusion. So that kind of like bugged me out. And then, cause my mom and dad had separated. So they was like, we would go to the book study on Tuesdays at one of the brothers' house. And he was like, where's your dad? And I was like, well, he ain't gonna be here. And then the lady was like, oh, thought so. I'm like, what?
See, now that's you'll get them petty comments every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, really, it was really destroying the family from within. I felt one way, my dad felt another way, which really made us feel different kind of ways about the organization and what was really going on. So, my dad got out way before we got out. He seen something different. So,
I mean, if you don't mind, like, what was his reasoning
around it? He was like, pretty much ain't no man gonna run my house. There was an incident that had happened. Matter of fact, my sister, they had a little slumber party, right? And, it was me and my brother. I went downstairs to be with the girls. I mean, what I was supposed to do?
Look, knowing you, yeah, you was downstairs.
I was downstairs. Right?
I mean, that's a normal, like, teenage, preteen thing to do, so...
Yeah, so that's what I did. I went downstairs to be with the girls, so I slept downstairs with them too, so that's what had happened. So one of my friends that was in the organization as well, he was there. He was there too. So, but he slept upstairs. I slept downstairs with the girls. He ended up going to tell his mom and dad that I slept downstairs with the girls. So the elders approached my dad on it. Was like, Travis slept downstairs with the girls, and he ain't supposed to be sleeping downstairs. So my dad was like, hold on. Now y'all ain't gonna tell me what's gonna go on in my own household. This is my household. They put us in the back, so we had that conversation. And then, when that happened, my dad was like, "Man, I really ain't with this." You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where he was at with it. Like, ain't no other man gonna control what goes on within my household because it's mine. You know, I work, I pay the bills here. You know, I pay my mortgage, whatever he was doing, and that was that. But he was out. And another thing that my dad was also big on was the Watchtower. So this when he was conversations in private, he would say, now look at these publications and look at the people in the publication. They don't look like you. But he showed us different verses in the Bible where it described how our brother man Jesus looked. It didn't compare to what was, you know, what the publications were displaying. So he was like, look, this is a psychological thing. You know, they playing on your mind because you want to accept this and say this is the truth. But in the images that y'all displaying, it's a lie. He said he ain't rocking with it. So for a long time, I battled with that myself. I'm like, well, it don't matter what the picture look like. It don't matter. But in actuality, it does matter. If you say that you're gonna carry the truth is but one, and it don't change nor pass away. So it has. If it don't match up, then we know we ain't rocking. We ain't right.
The fact that you had, you know what I'm saying, your father to kind of lean on in your transition, sounded like it was helpful in a sense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew I kind of knew what was to come if I decided to fully disassociate myself. You know, the big word that they like to throw around within the congregation was apostate. There it is. And that's what they was calling my dad. It was like, your dad's an apostate. He's an apostate.
Man.
I'm like, look, you ain't gonna sit here talking about my dad. He ain't no apostate. I know it. You know, I know what type of time my dad was on when he was transitioning out. You know, he was showing us a way out as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, where we teach nationality, birthrights, and divine creed. Pretty much, we don't identify ourselves as being Negro, color, or black, but we more so focus on nationality. So just like the Europeans come from Europe, the Japanese come from Japan, the Chinese come from China. Every race comes from a nation. So we pretty much focus on that and how we operate in this ancient civilization amongst people that really don't understand nationality. You know, so that's where I am now, and just teaching my children things of ancient. You know, our foremothers and forefathers, the stories in the Bible, you know, that's our history. So now from this perspective, I can teach it from a different perspective, you know, and not from another race of people who's saying that they stand for our salvation when our salvation is our own, you know. So in that aspect, we just really build on we nation building right now. That's where I'm at right now. Even before the COVID had happened, I did go back to the Kingdom Hall because I had to come see a few people, right? Mm-hmm. So I had my Moorish attire on, right? So I had my garbs on, and you know, I wrapped my hair in my turban, and I had my sash on, right? So when the people would look at me, they was like, "Man, you look like somebody from the Bible." And I said, I am somebody from the Bible. You know what I mean? They look like,
that's right.
I'm here to show y'all this is what we always look like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, some of the brothers was like, you know, I doing all that whispering and stuff, just like how they did Jesus when he was in the temple. So, when I came there to demonstrate, you know, I ain't say too much. I was just quiet, but I just want my presence to be known. And I came to see a couple of brothers like, what's up? Yeah. A lot of them was giving me the side eye, but a lot of the women were more, they would cling to like, yeah, what you got going on, Travis? And, you know, they want to inquire about these things, but more in a secretive manner. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at them and I'm just like, this is this and this is this, and that was it. But I had to go back to show them, what was what. Once I found the truth out for myself and about myself, my nationality, and my people. And a lot of our people are engulfed into this indoctrination of what the Jehovah's Witness or another Christian state is telling them to be. It's almost like they can't think for themselves. So they can't save themselves. If they can't think for themselves, you can't save yourself. So it's always you got to do what the elders tell you to do, or they're gonna look down on you. You know what I'm saying? So, but everybody has their own mind to think and make decisions about their own life, and it's okay to step away from the things that you were raised in. It's okay. You on your journey for you, and your salvation belongs to you, and that's it. Can't no man save another man. That's your relationship between you and God. However you want to build it, you build it. It's not based upon what nobody else say. It's not based on what nobody else do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we got lost within the organization, is trying to compete and compare against people that we really couldn't compete and compare with. It wasn't that like, okay, so what, my brother, he giving X amount of talks during the week, or every other week he giving these talks, and I only give one talk. So what, his comments may be a little bit better than mine. Maybe he well versed in that. Maybe he's well studied in that, and that's what he's able to do. But that don't mean that I got to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what the impression that I had when I was within the organization is like, yeah, you got to be like so and so, or they had a higher status because they put more hours out in field service than I did. That don't make me. How could that make me? How could that deter my relationship that I have with Jehovah? It never did. But just the way that we were being trained to think, it would be like that. And I suffered tremendously upon my exodus out. I did. It was many times, man. I just, in thought, I was just like, man, what's next? What's next? What's next? So I just had to keep on going on in my truth, and I had to make the truth my own. You remember Psalm 191?
Mm-hmm. But they had a whole song. Yeah, make your truth.
Man, it was.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
But look, we didn't do it until we got out. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Yeah. But no, please. I'm sorry.
But I'm gonna teach my children the same thing, and I would never let them be indoctrinated by another Christian organization. I gave the church and Christianity back to the Europeans because it was for them and their salvation. But as for me, a Moorish American, return back to Islam for my earthly and my divine salvation. So that's it. You know what I mean? And I ain't got nothing against the Christians. I don't got nothing against the witnesses. You know what I'm saying? Honest to them for what they do for their societies or for their culture and propagating their faith. Honest to them for that. But as far as me and mine, nah, I ain't. They come. I be waiting for them to come knock on the door sometimes, but they.
Bruh. Bruh, they don't never want to come to my door.
I'm saying, man. They don't want to come to a lot of our doors, Yeah. But one thing I can say, it was only so long that they could hide the truth. You know what I'm saying? We were in the state of mind as children. We weren't thinking about a lot of the social and economical issues that our people were suffering from. We was children. What do we know about that, paying bills and stuff like that? We seen our parents do it, but we didn't have to deal with that at that time. But as we got older, I think many of ones started to see the flaws within these organizations, So
that never get with or understand or get an answer for, kind of like how you did when you originally talked about the sit down you had with the brothers. I never understood how like Jehovah's Witnesses were around forever. Like my mom will always tell me that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, witnesses, you know, they've been around forever. You know, like back in the times when Moses, like, you know what I mean? Like Moses was Jehovah's Witness. Like I used to think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Moses was Jehovah's Witness. Like, why you ain't a Jehovah's Witness? Like, and it was like, no, I'm for real, but that was the way we thought. You know what I'm saying? Like I legitimately believe that. You know what I mean? And looking back on it now, I feel stupid, but you know, but like you said, we was kids. You know what I'm saying? Like all those problems like that you just said, we didn't think about it. All we thought about was what we heard. We, you know, anything that we were being told, and we were thinking about the status. Like the thing that you said that I love that you talked about was the status. You know what I mean? Like especially as a teenager coming up, like there was a status quo in a sense, right? An unspoken status quo. You know what I mean? You knew who was like on the rise. You knew who wasn't. You knew who to stay away from. You know what I mean? You knew, you know, who was hanging with who. And it was a legitimate high school environment in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we was high school and all that, you know what I'm saying? But, and we had our peer pressures and stuff, but that status that was given by the brothers, that's the thing. Like it was given by the older folk, you know what I mean? Like that they would look, you know, down upon this person, but they would look highly on this one. So it would influence your thinking. Yeah. And it's just unfortunate. And I'm glad that you spoke on that.
Yeah. I'm glad that I was able to experience that. So my children, you know, and those coming up, seeing these certain things allow me to fully conceptualize how people operate within organization, how they operate in religion. And you know what I'm saying, even though, you know, I may have a good heart and I want the best for my brother, that certain ones don't. Some people want to keep you enslaved. Some people don't want to give you, you know, the facts to help you free yourself. So I'm glad that I was able to experience those things, but no matter how hard it was at times, now I know how to, you know, fully liberate myself and express my thoughts freely towards what I want and what direction I want to go in my life.
Well, big ups to our guest, y'all. KENANYAH L, y'all. KENANYAH L. Say it right. You know what I'm saying?
Much gratitude.
Yes, man. All love.
Brother and sister, thank you.
Hey, but real quick,
we
know we gotta send our folks out the right way. For India Renee, for Rome Jones. Be motivated, be great, and be encouraged. And to the many and to the few, embrace the book of you. Later. The various